With Steve Blass this morning is brought to you by Davis Brothers Heating and Air Conditioning. Steve, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are things up in your neighborhood?
Snowy. It's not nice.
Okay. I won't pursue that.
That's a good idea. Hey, Steve, I want to talk to you about Pirates pitchers, particularly young pitchers, and I want to ask you to go back in time to when you were in the same boat as guys like Tyler Glasnow and Kingham, who pitched yesterday, and trying to make that one last step to become a bona fide major league pitcher. And in spring training, what are these guys going through right now?
Well, it's intense. That's a very interesting subject because I remember back in the days when I was trying to make a ball club, and every day I would go to spring training in the morning. I would think, okay, who are the 11? Who are the 12 now? Who's healthy? Who's getting older? Who's going to be in the pen? Who's going to be starting? And we would go. We had a carpool. I would go with various pitchers and drive in, and we'd go over the roster, chapter and verse, every morning, and. Knowing when you first start to be a candidate, you've almost got to have a squeaky clean month of March. You can't have one miserable outing. And then as you get closer, okay, yeah, well, that wasn't so good, but I'm still going to have some other chances. And actually, it got down to the point where in 1964, my first real opportunity, I actually sent my wife to Pittsburgh, and a day later, I found out that I was going to get cut. So she made the big team, and I didn't. But it's agony, and it's very intense. But it's what you're dreaming about doing. So you rather than dread the opportunity, you embrace the opportunity and say, well, let me go out today and have a good outing and see if that's a step in the right direction. So it's not so much fun in one way, but it's wonderfully exciting in another.
I'm guessing that in that carpool heading over to training camp for that day, there were some guys that you were actually competing against for roster spots. Is that true?
Absolutely. Tommy Sisk, Frank Bork, we all wound up making it, but you didn't know because, interestingly enough, I got sent out, as I told you, that very time, and my wife was in Pittsburgh, but then I got called up, and I stayed at Tommy Sisk's house, and he got sent down, and I stayed. I was a house guest. So it goes on and on until you get established.
Oh, yeah. So a guy like Glasnow gets out there on the field, and he's been so dominant at the AAA level. He's trying to make it in the major leagues. As he takes the mound in his spring training game, is he thinking to himself, all right, I got to pump it up there at 100 miles an hour all the time now. I have to find some way to translate what's been happening at AAA to major league hitters now. It's not worked for him so far.
Yeah, it's got to be agonizing because he knows what he's capable of doing, and we've seen bits and pieces every once in a while, but he knows more than anybody. It's got to be more consistent. Like a couple of outings ago, he had 6 strikeouts in 3 innings against Baltimore, and then he goes out and gets knocked around, and nobody knows what it is. It's his. It's all about him, and because he's so talented physically, he's going to get more opportunities. But he knows at some point he's got to prove that he can be a lot more consistent. And if he does, that could be a game changer for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's got that much talent. So it goes on and on. But he's got to, as they say, quote unquote, get it, quote unquote, figure it out. And, who knows? The sky's the limit after that if he gets it done. But there's no guarantee. I've seen handfuls and maybe 50 pitchers since I've been in professional baseball who have very good talent. I don't know if that much, but very good talent who haven't made it. Mm-hmm. I've also seen 50 that have. So at some point, he's got to figure it out.
Well, there's a guy who may have figured it out at the minor league level last year, and he's had some success at the major league level pitching today. Talk about Stephen Brault, who's on the mound for the Pirates today.
Yeah, he has he's established a foundation. Now, there's a chance that he could be a 5th starter this year. He could be starting in the bullpen, but he's proved to himself that he's capable of pitching at this level. So that makes him a valuable person. If he starts in the bullpen and somebody falters or somebody gets hurt, you have no problem, no qualms of saying, hey, you're gonna start for us for a while or a turn or two or whatever. So that's a good thing for a manager to have. Stephen Brault's got major league talent, and he's going to be looking to establish himself. I know if you've been a starter at any level in the minor leagues, that's what you want to be as a major league pitcher. But however, some guys wind up, as the dust settles, of being more effective out of the bullpen. So we'll see what the future holds for Stephen Brault, but he's capable of doing either one in the big leagues, I believe.
I'm trying to think of who that catcher might have been that you were throwing to back in 1964. The only guy I can think of from my old baseball card collection is Jerry Mays, and the only thing I remember is he had very hairy arms.
Yeah. Yeah. Jerry May was one of my first catchers, and we came up through the minor leagues together, and I had some good success with Jerry May, and unfortunately he passed away in a farming accident. But I go back to those guys. When I went to spring training early on, Smokey Burgess was there.
Oh.
He caught my first major league start, so I can go back that far. So yeah, you think about your competitive starting pitchers, but don't ever forget about your catchers.
Hey, Steve, enjoy Florida today. We'll tolerate Pennsylvania for you, okay?
Sounds good. All right, I'm putting you in charge.
All right, thanks, Steve. Have a great day.
Take care.
Steve Blass, the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's Indiana in the Morning here on AM 1160 WCCS and 101.1 FM.